John Zarella reporting from Largo, Florida. And joining me now for more on the Giuliani campaign, all the day's political news, three of the best political analysts in the country. We have New York syndicated columnist Miguel Perez, New York Daily News columnist Michael Goodwin, and in our Washington bureau, Diana West of the Washington Times. And Diana is also the author of The Death of the Grown-Up. Thank you for all being here. Let's just start with the Giuliani strategy. Just skip it all, go to Florida, and push for the really the big ticket with the very big state in Florida.
Right.
So.
Well, I think he's making a necessity or a virtue out of necessity there, because he actually wasted a lot of money in New Hampshire, didn't really move the polls at all, and in fact he went down slightly despite $3 million of advertising. So in Iowa he never really had much traction. So he's got to put all his chips on Florida primarily. He's not doing well in South Carolina either. So Florida's kind of a big important state for him, whereas the others have big important states earlier. So it's a strategy. It may work, but it's somewhat risky.
Do you think you can do this? Skip Iowa, New Hampshire, not win either, and move on? Is it possible?
I think it's possible, but I think it's a hell of a gamble that he's taking, especially when, as Michael just explained, he has spent so much resources and so much energy in New Hampshire, not so much in Iowa, but still, you know, if Huckabee or Romney or McCain come out of this first, caucus and primary with a lot of momentum, but Giuliani has a lot to lose.
It makes a lot of sense to focus on a state because you have Romney, really staying against the McCain surge in New Hampshire, focusing on your strengths, and yet it is kind of a gamble. Diana, what do you think?
Well, his strategy depends on a split verdict coming out of Iowa, New Hampshire, and some of the early primaries leading up to Florida. And so far, it's certainly very conceivable that we will have such a verdict. So again, it's a risky strategy, but it works if it works.
Let's look at Mike Huckabee, and he's really working very hard to protect his lead in Iowa. Very much a photo op today. He went hunting. Let's take a look at what he said.
You know, our campaign, a lot of people didn't think we were even in the game. And here, right at the end of the time leading up to the caucuses, you know, we proved that if you just stay out there in the woods, keep your gun ready, might turn out okay.
This was a real sell-on image, the sort of man of the people.
I guess hunting is a metaphor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's an important constituency in Iowa. He's clearly going for the real conservative vote between the evangelical vote, and now the hunting. He's trying to portray himself as the real conservative, and it may work for him there. Romney's hold on that constituency is a little shaky, and if he can turn the troops out in Iowa, Huckabee could be, sort of catapulted into a real contention nationwide.
He's staying very much in character, though, with this sort of folksy hunting, the contrast with Romney not hunting very frequently.
Well, the hat didn't look so good. I don't.
I have to say the outfit wasn't compelling. Not among the female voters. Go ahead, Miguel.
Well, the idea of Huckabee taking all this momentum to the rest of the country once he wins, if he does win in Iowa, is tremendous. And so, it's a huge gamble for Romney if he doesn't win Iowa now, and it's a huge gamble for him if he doesn't win New Hampshire. And if he loses both, I think Romney is out of the picture, because McCain is going to gain enormous strength to go on, and so is Huckabee.
Mm-hmm. Huckabee's been under attack, and the Washington Times took him to task today, saying that when he was governor of Arkansas, he signed a bill to order state police to arrest illegal aliens, but he didn't complete the whole process. And now the current governor has begun negotiations with DHS to follow through on that. But is this sort of immigration issue going to be a problem for Huckabee? Diana?
Yes, well, I think it is. As governor, Huckabee let 20 months go by without doing the required paperwork, really, to get the state troopers trained according to the federal guidelines so that they could begin exercising the federal immigration laws. I think what we're going to see with Huckabee, you've got 40% of the Republican turnout expected to be evangelical in Iowa, for whom, for example, the life issue is very important. But I think as we look at him on immigration, on taxes and so on, he will seem to be emerging as less a conservative than I think someone from the Christian left, because of his positions on these very key conservative issues.
The only distinction I would draw, however, is that among his competition on immigration, there isn't any really. I mean, none of them are real hard conservatives on immigration. Giuliani, Romney, McCain all have the same problem. So somehow that vote, I think, is not going to have an absolute favorite.
All right, gentlemen, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back to the polls and we'll take a look. A reminder now to vote in our poll tonight. Do you believe now is the time for an independent candidate who will represent the needs of the American people and not pander to special interests? Yes or no? Cast your vote at LouDobbs.com. We'll bring you the results in just a few minutes, and we'll be back with more of our panel, so stay with us.
CNN Next. You shot it. You said it. We showed it to the world. Your most amazing reports of the year.
Whoa.
I Report. Caught on camera. CNN coming up next.
Of course you're anxious. You're entering a whole new phase of your life.
If you say old age.
No, the retirement red zone.
You're making that up.
Well, that's what Prudential calls the 5 years before and after you retire. Look it up.
Retirement red zone, huh? You know what they should call it?
What?
The can't afford to mess up now zone.
Always half empty. How about the big chance to get it right zone?
Are you in the zone? The Retirement Red Zone from Prudential. Get retirement right.
Have you ever wanted to get into a medical career but didn't know how to get started? Then think about training as a medical assistant. It's one of today's fastest growing careers. You could help people in doctor's offices or hospitals. Want even more good news? Lincoln Tech can get you started in a medical career fast.
For a free brochure, call 800-327-1158. That's 800-327-1158. Call now.
En Infinity, el diseño y el desempeño se funden creando el poderoso Infinity FX, el SUV que se mueve a su propio ritmo.
I'm a huge Knicks fan, and I'm very superstitious when it comes to the games. I refuse to wear a Knicks jersey if the Knicks aren't playing. And my other ritual is this step, kind of choreographed dance routine that I do before a game. And if we're behind a little bit, I do it really fast. Go Knicks! And it hurts, but we're taking one for the team.
We're back with our panel, Miguel Perez, Michael Goodwin, and Diana West. Let's move on to the Democrats. You know, there was a really good article in the New York Times today, to give them credit, that looks at Hillary Clinton's background as First Lady, and it says, you know, 8 years she was there, but she didn't meet with the heads of, she met with the heads of state, she wasn't given security clearance, she didn't attend National Security Council meetings. Let's take a quote from that article so we can know what we're talking about. The junior senator from New York has a few significant legislative accomplishments to her name. She cast herself instead as First Lady like no other, a full partner to her husband in his administration, and yet the article takes issue with that. Michael, what do you think?
Well, look, fundamentally, she was the First Lady, and particularly after the health care debacle early on, she really pulled back. There was absolutely an attempt to keep her out of the spotlight, to make her, you know, more like a traditional First Lady and less like a policymaker or a full partner or a co-president. That's the role she played for the most of the 8 years. She can't have it both ways. She can't say, I was a full partner now, when at the time she denied it.
Yeah. So, let's look at where she's doing in the polls. And this is, of course, Iowa, where it's very close. Clinton, 31%, Obama, 26%. Edwards, who's kind of the wild card in this, at 21%, as McCain is with the Republicans. Miguel, this very close race, it's tough, isn't it?
It is tough, and they're both over there. They're both concentrating. Clinton, all of them, actually. Edwards is the only one that's out in New Hampshire for a couple of days, but the fact that Clinton and Obama are concentrating in Iowa means that they really, really know what's at stake there, and I think it's make it or break it for Obama in this race. If he wins here, it really could change the whole thing around. If Hillary loses, she's in trouble.
Yeah. Mrs. Clinton going for the older female vote, Mr. Obama going for the basically younger youth vote, college-age kids. A tough strategy, trying to divide the assets there. What do you think of this? Diana?
Well, yes, that's very true. It is a tough strategy. Older ladies don't like to go out into the cold on a snowy night.
I wouldn't underestimate those older ladies.
And the young people, it turns out a lot of the college students aren't around, so we really don't know how this is going to play out. But you know, with Mrs. Clinton, it is interesting the way she is trying to play her record. I mean, I would say she wasn't quite a traditional first lady, given her deep involvement in so many unusual scandals, and I think that calling her experience into question does bring us back to the fact that she is where she is because she was married to who she's married, and you really can't get away from that. And again, how this will play out, we really have yet to see.
Right.
All right, gentlemen, I think we have to wrap it here, though. Michael Goodwin, Miguel Perez, Diana West, thank you. And still ahead, the world's largest retailer is paying more when it's trying to get a good deal from the government. We're going to have that story when we return, so stay with us.